Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Tokyo Tropic Turtles Draft franchise mode here in MLB The Show 24. So, in last episode, we started out scouting out the upcoming draft class, and it's still not really looking like one of the best draft classes in the world. We've had some pretty terrible luck. I think it's still going to be better than the last few years, however, which is good. One thing, though, that is great to see, though, is our team is starting to actually win more games in the MLB, as we've already won our most games in franchise history, winning 12 games so far in our first 83 games, which is not too bad. So hopefully we continue to build that up, obviously, with a lot of the guys that are still in like AAA and AA. Hopefully they could get to the major leagues within the next few years to help this team even more so get closer to being like a 500 team at least. And from there, obviously, we want to start making the playoffs and that type of thing. But still a long ways away, I think, till we actually make the playoffs. But it's still fun building up this team ever so slowly. So hopefully this year's draft ends up being better for us, because we do need, obviously, some more good prospects in. There's some like solid ones, like I believe it was, who was it that I was looking at for our first round selection? William Bake as a shortstop. I'm very excited to draft this guy because I think he's going to be a very good defensive shortstop. Also, he can play second base, which second base is currently an area of need. So he will likely end up being one of our first round picks, or he will be our first round pick. And then afterwards, there's definitely some other guys that could end up being our picks. So at least I think this year we should be able to make selections with all our picks and not have to basically like go with 3 guys like we did last few years. So yeah, hopefully this draft class is good, and hopefully we could find some decent steals to continue building up that prospect pool, so that way one day we could actually win ourselves a World Series. But anyways, let's get in your guys' comments now and see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we will get into the Year 8 draft. So the first 2 comments are from Nick Buckabarons OC. The first one says, worst draft classes, bro, LMAO. And yeah, we've had some pretty terrible luck with the draft classes. I know early on in the series, I think we had some pretty good ones, obviously, because we got like Iwamura and whatnot. However, after that, it kind of just like seemed to have dipped a lot more. We are still finding some good players, like William Big, for instance, and this year's draft is going to be decent, but obviously we still haven't found like a generational Japanese guy so far. So I'm hoping that at some stage, obviously, we see one of those, because that will definitely help us turn the tide with this team from being like a kind of a mid or really bad team to like maybe an okay team to like maybe even a championship team at some stage. So definitely want to start getting those better drafts if possible. Like I wish there was kind of a slider that you could turn up the draft quality, because I think that would help us out a lot in terms of finding more Asian talent. Nick also says William Bake is going to be a beast, though, and I think so too. I think his defensive stats are going to be looking really good, so I think that will definitely help us in terms of playing better defensively and also potentially getting more wins, because obviously our pitchers are doing well, but we do need the batters to start hitting obviously more home runs, and we need some more good defensive play, probably in the infield too, to obviously keep those ERA numbers from going so super high. And the last and final comment is from Dylan Burrows, who says Bake number 4, Arlim at number 40, Quo at number 40, which I think he means 41, Min at number 107, Cho at number 77, and then, Cho at 77, and then Chen at 137. He also says Chung for a September call-up with a question mark, and also says Iwamura is having a great season, Nguyen's having a great season, Tom Koo is having a Reliever of the Year award type of year. Can you check that, please? And yeah, we'll do that for sure. So first and foremost, in terms of his draft order, he's saying Bake, Russell Lim, Quo, Min, Cho, and then Chen. So yeah, we'll definitely probably just draft those guys in that order. And he was saying about having Chung as a potential September call-up. Let's show you guys what David Chung looks like here before I get my face back on screen. So, or Philip Chung, not David Chung. There's so many guys with the same last name, I swear. And yeah, Philip Chung up to a 77 at 21. He could definitely be probably a September call-up. I was debating about maybe just waiting till next year, because we don't actually even have him, I believe, on our 40-man roster yet. No, we don't. So I could always wait till next year, but at the same time, he might definitely deserve an opportunity here. And then if we put him in as a closer, maybe we'll actually start to win more games down the stretch with him closing out games, because he's definitely should be a lot better than this 13 overall closer in Andrew Perez. And he was also mentioning about how Iwamura and Nguyen are having great years, which I agree with. Iwamura's having a pretty good season considering the quality of this roster. And then Nguyen's off to a fantastic start as well. Obviously, his numbers dropped off a little bit as of this last episode, but he's still off to a pretty good start to his major league career. And he was saying that Tom Koo's having a reliever of the year award type season. Let's take a look at Tom Koo's stats here, and then I'll take a look and see if he's up there for potential reliever of the year. As you can see, he's 3-1, and he's got a sub-2 ERA, which is awesome, and a sub-1 WHIP, which is even better. So he's been fantastic so far as a relief pitcher, and hopefully he continues to grow like that, because look at like the FIP numbers too, like a 2.96. He's just been dealing these last 3 years, and once this team gets better, obviously he's going to have a better win-loss ratio. Right now he's actually got a better win-loss ratio than in prior seasons already, so that's also very good. So let's take a look and see if we go to the awards. Is he up there potentially for a reliever of the year award? No, he's not at the moment. Right now, the guys that are up there, though, this is what their stat lines look like. So you got Jimmy Gaudio, who's got a 2.1 ERA, and then he's also got 22 saves, 35 strikeouts. You also got Garrett Whitlock up there with a 2.33, and Brusdar Graterol with a 3. So I'm kind of surprised he's not up there, but maybe it's because he's not getting as much saves. Let me actually take a look at Koo here for a second again. So Tom Koo, how's his saves? Yeah, he has no saves so far because he's not a closer really, so maybe that's why he's not really considered for it. But he's got like 8 holds to 1 blown save, so yeah, he's definitely been really good, but I don't know if he will win Reliever of the Year award because he's not a closer. We could always use him as a closer at some point, but we have Chung as well coming up, so I don't really know if he would be ever used as a closer, but as the type of like reliever you want to have, like short reliever, he's definitely an A+ short reliever, I would say, because his stamina is not good enough for him to be a long reliever. But if you want a guy to come in for like 1 to 2 innings, he's that type of guy. So anyways, there's that. Let's get into the upcoming draft and see what we could do. I do have some new guys on this part. Yamamoto, I want to get him scouted out a little bit more. Same with Tommy Lim. And then I also will just keep this at its current spot because it honestly doesn't matter at this stage. But let's see if we can find out a little bit more about them before the upcoming draft. And also, let's see if our team can win some more games, because why not? See what ends up happening here. So, looks like we're losing every game this week. Yep. We still have those weeks sometimes where we don't win a single game, but oh well. So Yamamoto so far isn't looking as good, unfortunately, but he's still looking maybe like an okay relief pitcher. Tommy Lim, same type of boat. Same type of boat. That's okay. Let's just keep it like that because we are right near the draft anyways. I got to make sure that I have Dylan's list nearby me so I could take a look at who he wants me to take at certain spots. But more than likely it will be the same as the actual draft list itself. At least I would assume so. So let's get to this draft. We should be not too far from the draft. How many days do we got till the draft? 6 days. Yeah, we just got to go through this week. So we'll see if we can actually win some more games during this week of action. There's a win over Texas. Nice. There's our 13th win on the year as Yamazaki is back. That's great to see. Let me put him in the lineup. Oh no. Oh, I almost thought I quit out of the draft stuff. Okay, we'll have to put him in after the draft. That's okay though. Okay, let's go to draft and add prospects here and see who's actually still going to be in this draft class and not withdrawing their name, because I hate it when players withdraw, but you guys always say it's the top 200. Oh, I forgot to scout out Wattenby. I wanted to scout at him. But he is in the draft, even though he's not supposed to get drafted, so that's exciting. Okay, so we'll put him there as a wild card. For sure. But I honestly completely forgot about Wattenby. I'm kind of surprised he's actually still in the draft, because I thought he would have withdrawn his name. Okay, let's see who else we got on this list to add to our short list. But hopefully we can draft mostly Asians so we don't have to lose any single prospect in this class. And there's Louise and Jack Mack, I should say. Russell Lim. Who else we got here? David Yamamoto. Let's see, Pete Quo. I feel like that closer might be a good option to take because we do need closers. So I might change up the list a little bit from what Dylan was mentioning. Tommy Lim. Tom Cho. Yeah, there's definitely a lot more options in this year's draft than there has been in the past. Oh, Urabu is even still there too. I guess we'll add him to this list. But that closer, though, must have been just discovered in the last week or something like that, because I don't think I've seen him before, but I could be wrong. Could be wrong. Oh, there's a Yamazaki too. Oh yeah, Koji. Yeah, we have a lot of options, which is nice. Sasaki. And that's it. So, let me just take a look at the list that Dylan potentially put us. So, he said at first, obviously Bake as number 1. Let's reorder this a bit here. So, Bake as 1. He had Quo as number 2. And then you had Min. He had... Actually, no, he didn't have Min next. He had Cho next. So, Cho will be here. Cho, Min, and then he had Chen. Okay. Wait, didn't he have Lim? Yeah, he did have Lim up here too. Lim was at 2, not Quo. Quo was the 3rd. Okay, so he had it at this order. Just 2 Lims actually, too. Russell Lim and Tommy Lim. It's Russell Lim. That's why he put R Lim. And then afterwards, we have all these other random guys. I would definitely put Wattenby above a lot of these other guys. I feel like Wattenby might be a guy that we actually end up taking earlier on. He's not fully scouted, so it's a bit of a risk. But him being a closing pitcher, and our scouts right now thinking he's the 16th best prospect, I think he might be worth taking earlier on over somebody like Pete Quo. Maybe not over Pete Quo. I don't know exactly where he would go. I feel like he's going to go early because he's a closer, but I don't know. Like, I might put him above the outfielders, but we do need outfielders a lot too. Damn, this is a tough decision where I would pick him, because I feel like we could be able to grab him. And all these other guys are probably guys that are just going to be options in case. But look at how many players we could draft this year. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 players that we could draft this year, compared to other years where you only had like 3 people or 4 people on our list. So this year definitely a lot better, which gives me hope that future draft classes will be a lot better as well. So let's hop into this draft and see what ends up going before our selection, because I think we have the 4th overall pick, right? So we just got to hope that Bake falls that far, and then hopefully afterwards we can get some good players with the rest of our selections. Hopefully we make the right call on some guys. Okay, so Boston 1st, Miami 2nd, Baltimore 3rd, and then it is us at 4. So we'll see who ends up going early on here. First overall, David Santana, the starting pitcher, going to the Red Sox, 21-year-old. Okay, not a huge reach there. Second overall, guy with a beard for sure. Yep, William Vega, who was projected to go as the 1st overall pick, goes 2nd to the Marlins. We'll see if that ends up being good. He's a closing pitcher, which makes me think the closing pitcher that I was looking at might go off the board in the 1st round or early into the 2nd round, something like that. So I feel like I might have to take him early, just in case. But I don't know if it would be a great selection. And Dan Frazier is the final pick of the top 3. He is a shortstop, so maybe it's a good shortstop draft, which means our shortstop should be decent. But this guy could be even better, who knows. But Dan Frazier goes to the Orioles. So William Bake is going to be our 1st round selection. Our scouts think he's going to be a very good defensive shortstop, which is great, something we need. We also do need second baseman, so I like this pick a lot. So welcome to Tokyo, William Bake, I think it's pronounced. Or maybe it's Bayek or something, but I'll say Bake for now because it seems easier. So there is William Bake taken. We'll see if anybody else that we have on our board goes off the board here in this 1st round. We'll probably actually watch this entire 1st round again like we normally do, because it's kind of interesting just to see what the eye is taken. So Tim Kincaid goes 5th overall, the 1st catcher of the draft. Interesting. The Giants at 6, what are they going to go with? Keith Montenegro is starting pitcher. So that's the 2nd starting pitcher off the board. Yeah, I feel like when you see like a pattern of the amount of like a certain amount of players or a certain amount of positional players going, you know that that position has more steals than the others, if it makes any sense. Will Roosh went to the Brewers, starting pitcher as well, and then Robbie Gorman, the 1st outfielder of the draft, going to the Kansas City Royals at 8th overall. Daryl Kahn, another starting pitcher, going to the Pirates. Maybe a big reach there, but might also be a one that pays off for the Pirates. The Twins at 10 take another starting pitcher, Ruben Ibarra. He's a little bit more of a reach than Kahn was. So a couple reaches early on. We'll see if those scouts made the right decisions. Bert Luca, the 1st second baseman of the draft, going to the Cubs. So we'll see if he ends up being good. The White Sox at 12 take Gabriel Rivera, the second catcher of the draft so far. The first one since obviously Tim Kincaid at 5th overall. The Guardians at 13 are going to take Ken Bichette, a shortstop. So there's literally 3 shortstops already in the first 13 picks. So yeah, I think there's definitely some good shortstops in this draft based on that. There's another shortstop, Joe Outlaw. So yeah, I think that's basically how you can tell what positions have good players in it if you see a lot of shortstops going on or something early on. There's another one, Luther Maraville. So I think all the scouts on these other teams also think there's a lot of good shortstops because I don't think I've ever seen this many shortstops go in the first round before. Domingo Trejo going to the Braves. He's a first baseman, so the first baseman to go off the board. We'll see if he ends up being the best of the first basemen. Ryan Watson, another left fielder, going the first one since Robbie Gorman at 8th. Okay. Who is Tampa going to take at 18? Stuart Lawson, another first baseman, so maybe a couple good first basemen here early on, which is also good because a couple of guys that we could draft are also first basemen. The Reds at 19 take Jerome Doherty, who is a third baseman, so that's the first third baseman in this first round, going right around where he was projected to go. The Texas Rangers are going to take a starting pitcher in Adrian Campaneris. Okay. As always, there's usually a lot of starting pitchers in the first round, but in terms of like infielding wise, if you see a pattern, I'm pretty sure usually it means there's good players in that area. Like catcher wise too. Ryan Norton, the first catcher to go in a while, going to the Tigers. So that's 3 in this first round. DeAndre McMillan going to the Blue Jays. Another starting pitcher, of course. Houston at 23 is going to take Omar Mejia, who's another starting pitcher, going exactly right around where he was supposed to go. The Dodgers at 24 are going to take Corey Min. Damn, man, that sucks. Corey Min going in the first round. I was hoping he'd fall to the second round, but our scouts had him ranked at 121, so he might have gone way earlier than actually he should have, but that sucks. That might make my decision easier with going with a closing pitcher soon, but damn. And then Mario Magana going to the Mets. And then Tyrone Tanner going to the Padres. Who is the Rockies going to get at 27? Who are they going to get? Sam Henderson, another starting pitcher. But yeah, hopefully Corey Min isn't as good as we were thinking. Like, he looks like he's going to be okay, but not anything insane. The Angels take Rahul Espinoza. Okay. And what did the Cardinals get at 29? And then the Yankees have the last pick the first round. Cardinals are going to select Jose Mora, who's a starting pitcher as well. Which leaves the Yankees at 30. Who are they going to select with the final pick of round number 1? They select Kurt Wolff, who's another third baseman. Alright, so we are not on the board yet because we are in the prospect promotion incentive rounds. Which I forgot about this. No! Michael Wattenby just went. You douche. I literally was just waiting for him for the next part. Damn, Pirates might have got a really good steal there. We will not know until we actually take a look, but damn, man, that's one guy I really was anticipating, even though I didn't scout him out at all. Damn. And then Brian Huffman going to Texas, of course. And now we have to go through the competitive round balance A picks as well. Damn. Well, at least there should be more players for us to take still, but sucks that 2 of the guys that I was looking at are both gone. And of course my batteries are literally almost dead as I'm recording this, so I'm going to literally have to change my batteries here as I go through this. Okay, I quickly had to change my batteries. There was a couple picks in between then because the timer still goes down. Nobody that we were looking at so far has got drafted, which is good. Oh, that was kind of annoying. I had to do that fast because if it went to our pick and it was like only the 1 minute to make a selection, I probably would have like not made my selection. So who are we going with this next selection here at 40? Looks like Russell Lim would be the selection based on what Dylan was saying. So Russell Lim is going to be our next pick here. Yeah, pick 40, and then we have the next pick afterwards. So Russell Lim, welcome aboard. Hopefully he's better than Corey Min, considering Corey Min already just went. And at 41, he was saying Kuo, right? Yeah, 41 he was saying Kuo. So we'll probably go with Kuo. We'll probably just stick with his order, just because might as well. So Pete Kuo, another relief pitcher, will be joining the team. He actually looks pretty balanced, so I do like this guy a bit. So hopefully he's another solid reliever to add to our bullpen. So there is Pete Kuo. Might be a bit of a reach, but maybe also a good selection. Let's enter next pick and see if anybody goes off the board, which I don't think anybody did, if I'm not mistaken. Got to double check. We only have a minute to make our picks, so I got to look through this quickly. Doesn't look like anybody went off the board. Okay, so who is next at 77? Like, imagine if my controller batteries died right now, because that would not have been good. Yeah, we'll go with Cho with number 77 here. So Tom Cho, a right fielder. We do need some more outfielding help, so Tom Cho will also be joining the Tropic Turtles. His face is pretty narrow and very weird. But welcome aboard, Tom Cho. He was injured, apparently, but doesn't really matter too much. Hopefully that's just not a problem once he's in the major leagues. Ooh, a couple guys went off the board. There goes Luis. He went to the Nationals, if you guys were wondering about Luis in his meme name. But a couple guys went off the board that we had on our list. David Yamamoto going to the Houston Astros. And then you also had Tommy Lim going off the board to St. Louis. So our next selection is going to be Sal Chen probably then, right? Let me take a look here. Yeah, it's got to be Sal Chen. Yeah, it's going to be Sal Chen. We're not going to be able to get every single player that is on the list from Dylan, but Sal Chen is our next pick. Another outfielder. Hopefully that one is a decent little steal there. And then our next few selections have to be these random guys, which I'm going to have to make my own decisions up on these guys. So hopefully I make the right call. All three of them are still on the board. Who are we going to go with next? Only 5% scouted, 10% scouted, and 8% scouted. So all of them are major risks. I guess we should just go for one that's projected to go as high as possible. Yeah, I'm probably just going to go with Irabu first, and then I'll probably have to make a decision between a third baseman or a second baseman. So let's go with Philip Irabu with this selection. And our last pick is between Yamazaki and Sasaki. We already have like multiple Sasakis and Yamazakis, I think. So what do we want to go with? 3 green potentially, 4 green potentially. I guess we got to go for the guy with the higher ceiling. So I guess we'll go for Koji Yamazaki with our last selection of this draft. And yeah, hopefully he's decent-ish. If he's not, so be it. But there is our draft. Sasaki did go off the board right at the end, it looks like, as he does get drafted by the New York Mets at 191. All right. Kind of a weird draft because I was hoping to get a couple guys, but a couple guys went off the board. But that's okay. At least we were able to make selections with every single one of our picks. That actually matters. So let's now see the All-Star stuff. We did win another game right before the All-Star break. Let me actually... We don't care about the Home Run Derby because we're not going to have anybody in it. But I want to make sure... Yeah, Yamazaki got put back in, which is great because he's been having a really good season so far up to this point. We'll put Takashi against lefties, though. But Yamazaki will be in against right-handed pitchers. We've won 14 games this season, which is awesome. So we won't have anybody in the Home Run Derby. In terms of the All-Star game, who made it for us? Who made it for us this year? Is it somebody that we actually drafted? Because usually it seems like it's still like a 12 overall player. Let's see. Tom Koo. Tom Koo has made it to the All-Star game as he should for the Tropic Turtles. So shout out to Tom Koo. Still has a fantastic ERA and whip. And he did lose a game recently, apparently, but still, he has been great. He has been great. So shout out to Tom Koo making it to the All-Star game. Anybody else make it to the All-Star game? Probably not, right? It's probably only the one representative. No, Kevin Sato has also made the All-Star game. So the Tropic Turtles having some representation at the All-Star game this year. He has been pretty solid. His average is like pretty much his normal average, but 8 home runs, 35 RBIs. Pretty consistent. So Kevin Sato also in the All-Star game. Nice. So that's the first time I believe we've had 2 All-Stars. And they've both been players I drafted. So very happy with that. Hopefully those guys continue to develop into being full-time All-Stars for the future. And we should be able to start signing our picks here shortly. I think maybe one more day. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Okay, so signing draft picks. Let's get our guys signed up. So we'll start off signing William Bate because he's already got good interest too. He declines the first offer, which is not always great, but it's okay. Russell Lim has high interest, so we should be able to get him. Yes, we do. Welcome aboard to Russell Lim. Pete Quo also has high interest. A lot of these guys have good interest, which is great. But Quo will reject as well. Tom Cho has 50%, so we should be able to maybe get him. Yes, we do. Tom Cho is on board. Philip Irabu has to get his interest much higher. Sal Chen as well has to get his interest higher. And Yamazaki we could already sign, so we'll try and get Yamazaki signed up here easily. Perfect. He might be terrible, but I don't care. And yeah, we basically just need to get these two guys signed and these guys' interest higher. So let's put William Bake up there to get his interest higher too, a little bit. Just because obviously he's going to be probably the best player we draft in this draft class. Okay, 2 more games. We do win a game against Tampa, so that's 15 wins on the year. Is the team going to win 20 wins this year? Because that would be nice. That would be nice. Let's try and get Bake signed up here again. He has decided to accept. That is great. And Pete Quo has also accepted. So we're just waiting on these two guys left. Which, let's actually swap Chen to first, because Chen obviously was a higher up selection, I think. And here Abro is more of a random reach. So I got to get those guys' interests up there. And then we could offer them contracts as well. Those are the only guys I'm a little worried about, but at least they were late round selections. But I still don't really like losing players to this part, so 47 and 40. Sal Chen's still looking okay so far, which is nice. Sasaki has been injured with a broken ankle, and he's out 2 to 3 months. I know you guys can't see because my head's in the way, but damn, that sucks. That's a pretty major injury for one of our prospects. Damn. We need to get a player into that lineup spot now because he was on our major league roster. So that is on, what position is that? Oh, in the outfield and right field. So I guess Shane Sasaki will take over his spot, who was the Rule 5 pickup a number of years ago. He'll just go into the lineup. Okay. 7-1 loss. Yeah, that's definitely going to make us lose more games, that injury, but it is what it is. Sal Chen, can we get you signed up here, my boy? Yes, we can, which means we're just waiting on Philip Irabu, and we got 8 days to get his interest above 50%, so should be able to get everybody in this draft, which is good. Which is good. Charles Nakamura has also been injured, but it's only for 1 to 2 weeks, so at least it's not too long term. Let's see, can't get you signed yet, but we should be able to get you signed up in the next day, right? I think. Kevin Sato has pulled a back muscle. Let's just go auto on that because he will be back here momentarily. Okay, Philip Irabu. Let's just give you... Well, can I get him to 100% interest? I can. Damn. I can get him to 100% interest, but I don't even need to probably pay him that much. Let's try and get him at 78%. There we go. We saved some money. And Irabu is signed, which means everybody is signed for the roster. We need just to go 5 more days, and then we should be able to find out how good this draft class was for us. Hey, we've won 2 games in a row as Sato is back. Let's get him in the lineup. And Yamazaki was injured as well, apparently, but he will get taken out of the lineup. Let's get Sato back in. Kevin Sato, wait, which one is Kevin Sato? Was he the pitcher? No, he was the batter. That's right. Yeah, he's already back in. Okay, that's good. I had to double check on that. Had to double check. So we got to go a couple more days before we could actually find out how good our draft was. We'll go auto on Sasaki stuff. Yeah, we got 1 more day, and then we can find out how good our draft was. I think it's going to be an okay draft for us. And we've won 17 games in the major league, so we're starting to make up some headway in terms of our production, which is good. So 17 and 93 to end this episode. Now the question is, how good was our draft? We also have some pretty big contract extensions to deal with this offseason, so if you guys could give me some feedback on what you guys would do in terms of term and length and stuff with all these guys that are listed here. So Walter Jung, Stan Nguyen, Leonard Sato, Peter Yamazaki, and Tom Koo. Let me know because I know that we need to sign some of these guys long term probably in order to keep the core intact. So let me know on that for the offseason. But let's see how good our draft was in year 8. Did we make the right selection with William Bake at 4th overall? Yes, we did. A potential 64 out of 21. William Bake is fantastic, especially in the defensive side of things, but he has some okay contact hitting against righties and power hitting against righties, so he actually might be okay once he starts hitting the ball a little bit more, but obviously that fielding number, fantastic. His arm and accuracy needs a little bit of work, but definitely still pretty good starting-wise. Reaction is really good. Speed is solid. Stealing is fantastic. And I forget what BR aggressive is. I think that's bunting, right? I think. But yeah, William Bake looks like he's going to be a really good defensive shortstop. So very much like that pick. Of course, having him at A potential is even better than having him as like a B potential or whatever. The next question is, how was the rest of our draft? Because the rest of the draft was kind of a mixed bag. Did we make any good selections down the road? Let's see. Second pick, Russell Lim. C potential, not as what I was expecting, but his contact hitting is very good. 54 at 18 is pretty much the average, so I will take that as well. But that contact hitting, that vision, that discipline, Russell Lim should be able to outgrow that C potential and get into a B potentials with those contact numbers. So I do like that pick. Might be a low potential, lower overall, but I think he could outgrow it for sure. So like that pick. So a 2 for 2, I would say, in terms of players I like. The third selection, Pete Quo, 58 at 22, also C potential, but I think he can maybe outgrow it. I think he maybe can, because he's got good strikeouts per 9. His hits per 9 is not bad. Walks per 9 is not bad. Home runs 9 is a little low, but in general, he looks okay. He's got a very good break on his pitches, and his arm is a 98, so who knows? Maybe this guy's actually not going to be too bad. But we'll see if he develops and becomes one of those guys like Tom Koo, who originally had C potential. Our next selection, Tom Cho. 58 at 18 is not bad, but D potential kind of sucks. Kind of sucks. He has good contact hitting. His vision and discipline isn't bad, so maybe he could outgrow that D potential if he plays good in AAA or in AA. But obviously not exactly what I was anticipating with that potential. Very good speed too, so he could still be useful, but obviously it's going to take some work. The next selection, Sal Chen, does have better potential, C potential, but he's a 47 at 19, so major project, but maybe he could outgrow that C potential as well. His contact hitting is okay, but in general, no real big strength. He does have some good defensive options, but in general, he's kind of a mixed bag. And then our next selection, Philip Rabu, is kind of just a wild shot in the dark. D potential, 58 at 18. We knew it wasn't going to be that great of a draft later on. He had good strikeouts per 9, though. Good walks per 9. Could end up being useful still, for sure, in terms of like double or triple A, so I'll take it. And in our last selection of the draft, Koji Yamazaki, 53, C potential, 21 years of age. In general, I think we may do with what we had, basically. This draft class wasn't the best on paper, but we actually got a good pick, obviously, with our first round selection, so at least that made up for it a little bit. But in general, here was our selection, so you can see William Big, 93 potential for him. Yeah, Lim on a 72 potential, but I think he could outgrow it with his contact hitting. Pete Quo has a 79 potential, which is useful for a reliever. Tom Cho only 69 potential, so Sal Chen 79 potential, so that's still useful as an outfielder. Irabu only 62 potential as a 58. Not very good. And then Yamazaki has 78 potential, so as a third baseman, that's not bad. Not too bad. So that is our draft. Let's see the rest of the teams and see what we missed out on and what teams end up grabbing. So, the Mariners. No real studs, but they did grab Maraville, who's okay, but no stud players. I'm going to only list out the A potential guys, but if you see any steals, let me know. The Rangers. No A potential players for them as well. That's kind of surprising. The Braves. 1 A potential. Actually, no, it's A potential is an 87, right? Or is that B? No, that's B potential. So no B potentials for some of these other teams as well. But Vince Cruz is pretty good. 67 at 23 is a little low, but 87 potential. The Marlins. William Vega was really good. Really good. Yep, 73 at 21, 91 potential. And Alicio, 77 at 21, 84 potentials as closer as well. They drafted some good closers, which makes me think that closer that I was looking at that went just before our selections was actually probably good. We'll see if he ends up being good, though. Sherman Potter, pretty solid steal there for the Mets. What else we got here? The Phillies. Hank Hammond did Double H. Pretty solid. Yeah, really solid pick there as a second baseman. The Nationals, who drafted Luis, and unfortunately didn't come to terms with him. So Luis might be in next year's draft, and maybe I'll have a chance to play with Lewis. But that's unfortunate to see that he didn't get signed. All right. The Cubs. Oof. The Cubs had a tragic draft. No, They had like literally all like D potentials and low end Cs. Jeez. That's one of the worst drafts I think I've seen from a team. The Reds didn't sign their first pick, Jerome Doherty, which I don't remember where he was drafted. I think it was late first round, but I can't remember. Victor Marquez is a good steal as a shortstop. So there is that. The Brewers had an okay draft compared to some other teams. This guy's really good. Fletcher Head is a 77, but only 76 potential. Carvajal's good too. So shout out to them. The Pirates. No. Michael Wattenby was good. I knew he was going to be good because he just showed up out of nowhere. 66 at 18, 8 potential, 90 potential in terms of overall rating. Damn, man. Yeah, see, I should have probably taken that next round if I would have had a chance. Oh well. Jack Mack, though, not so good, even though he's got the cool name. All right. What else we got here? The Cardinals, not a great draft really for them. Tommy Lim was not great as a reliever. Not great. But he was kind of on par with what we had already drafted as well. The Diamondbacks, Avi Courtney, really good steal there. 53 at 21 is a little low, but 93 potential. The Rockies, oof. When was Sam Henderson drafted again? I don't remember if he was before us or not. He's not super good. David Robles is their best selection. And there is Corey Min, who did not sign with the LA Dodgers. That is huge for us. So Corey Min, who we were looking at, did not sign with the Dodgers, which means he probably should be in next year's draft because he's only 18, which means we might have another chance to draft Corey Min, which is nice. So we'll never know how good Corey Min is until next year's draft, potentially. So shout out to Corey Min, who could have joined this team and probably could have signed with us, but he got drafted by the Dodgers instead way earlier than anticipated. The Padres had a pretty good draft compared to some teams with those 80 potential guys. All right. The Giants didn't sign their first rounder as well, Keith Montenegro. So a couple first rounders not getting signed, and then their other picks were all very bad. And for Boyer, he's okay, but everybody else, oh my goodness. I think we might have actually had an okay draft compared to a lot of other teams, which is kind of crazy. Like, it doesn't look like a lot of the 8 potential guys in this draft class. Like Dan Frazier, who went in the first round, was tragic. Wow. All right. Didn't expect this draft class to be weak for a lot of other teams. However, the Red Sox might have had the best draft so far. David Santana has 86 potential. Brandon Marks has 88 potential. And Guy Dozer has 86 potential. So some really good selections there from the Red Sox. The Yankees, Wolf is not very good. Zito's okay. And then a really good steal there with Adam Ware. Yeah, that's a fantastic steal. The Rays. Stuart Lawson's pretty solid. Their other picks are all kind of mid and below mid sometimes. All right. Blue Jays. Steven Pacheco is pretty good. Other ones are pretty average. But yeah, a lot of teams didn't really have that insane of drafts. The White Sox. Their first pick was good. Gabriel Rivera. Miguel Anaya was good too. Josh James is good too. But Joel Little, a 40 overall with 54 potential. That's probably the worst player I've seen in this series so far. From Alabama. Joel Little has little chance to make it to the major leagues for sure. But some solid players there for the White Sox at least. The Guardians. Bichette's okay. Ryan DeFranco is good. And Patrick Foster is also good. So a couple teams had some good steals, but other teams did really bad. Oh my goodness. We might see the biggest steal here. The Detroit Tigers selected Alberto Chacin, who's a 56 at 20, which is kind of a little low, but not too much. But he's got 98 potential. So this guy might be the next best outfielder. So shout out to Alberto Chacin. And then you have the Royals. Robbie Gorman is pretty solid. There's Dave Mack. I remember seeing him in the list, I think. Ruben Ibarra is pretty good for the Twins. Looks like the Twins had an okay draft compared to some teams too. And then you had the Astros, who didn't sign their first round pick, Omar Mejia. He doesn't get signed. But their next best pick was Michael Mendez. And then you had the Angels, who didn't have a great draft. Dave Wog, yeah, they didn't have a great draft. I mean, Torrey Miller's okay, but he's a 40 overall as well at 23. Yikes. So in general, I think we had a pretty similar draft to a lot of other teams in the league, but we did get obviously that one good A potential guy. I think we actually had an okay draft compared to a lot of other teams. Like, in terms of A potential guys, we might have had like one of the second highest potential guys, like tied with Josh James. Yeah, I think we might have had one of the best players in terms of potential in this draft class, which is awesome considering he's an Asian player. So there is that. Final few things to wrap up this episode. Let's take a look at our player stats a little bit again, just to see who's been doing what in double, triple A, in the majors so far. So Nakamura so far has still been doing good as a reliever. Yamashita still doing good. Tom Mann still doing good. Wong still doing good. Yeah, it looks like the relievers in Double A are doing good, except for Wanyan Chang. He's kind of struggling a bit, but that's okay, because he's got no potential anyways. In terms of Triple A, looks like Matsui's doing better than Na. Hayashi's kind of struggling a bit. Vincent Tan's doing okay compared to some guys. Rabu, Yeah, we're not getting the best pitching in terms of Triple A. David Lim's been good. Yamada's been okay. And Philip Chung still could end up being a September call-up. So I'll leave it up to you guys. Do we call up Philip Chung for the September call-ups to get ourselves more wins? Or do we wait till next season for him to debut? So I'll leave it up to you guys on that. And in terms of the Major League so far, Parker Iwamura still doing pretty good, but not as good as he was earlier in this episode. 22 games started, 13 quality starts, so on par with last year. His FIP is better than last year too, so he's still doing well. Walter Jung still kind of struggling, but doing better than last year for sure. Stan's having still a really good year. Stan's still the man. Obviously, this guy's a Rule 5 pickup, so it doesn't matter too much. Walter Cho, Leonard Sato's been good. Fujinami's not been good. Tom Koo, still a sub-1 whip and is just over a 2 ERA. He's still been fantastic. And that's it for pitchers. In terms of batting, if we go to Double A to start off with, Park on a 231, Taguchi on a 219. I'll probably restructure this again based on batting average, but looks like the batting hasn't been the best either in Double A. So Double A kind of struggling a bit, but that's all right. In terms of Triple A, Nomo on a 247. Yokoyama's doing okay average-wise. All right. Yeah, it looks like the major league or minor league teams aren't doing as good as prior years, but that's okay. In terms of the MLB, this is going to be interesting. Tom Lee's got 17 home runs in his first season, and he's got the 216 average, 43 RBIs. So the average not great, but he is driving in some home runs, which is nice. Takashi, he's got a 217. You know, Yamazaki's currently injured. Shu's batting a 247. That's not bad. Shane Sasaki, 197. Sato, a 243. All right. Wong, a 236. Shin, a 227. Yamazaki's still a 274. But has had injury trouble a little bit. All right. Now the question is the award update as well. Do we have any guys up there for awards at the moment still? Yes, Rookie of the Year so far still. Tom Lee is #1 for potential Rookie of the Year, which is fantastic. So, unfortunately, we don't have 3 guys up there like we did at the beginning of last episode or at the end of last episode, but there's a chance because Tom Lee has the most home runs and RBIs that he'll win Rookie of the Year. Obviously, he doesn't have as good of an average as like Ray Colligan, but he definitely has been pretty solid so far this season. Don't think anybody else would be up there for any awards. Let's just double check through this for fun. So we have yet to have an award winner, I think. Yeah, so if we get a Rookie of the Year next episode, it'll be the first time, I think. So there is that, and that's going to do it, guys, for this episode of our Tokyo Tropic Turtles Draft Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll simulate the rest of Year 8. We'll see where this team finishes in terms of wins. Right now we're at 17 and 93. I think there's a realistic chance this team could finish with 20-plus wins. And then hopefully, obviously, we get some good growth in the offseason. We start getting this team even better for next season. And it will be interesting to see the internal competition within this roster to see who's going to be slotting in the major league level, who's still going to be in AAA and in AA. So let me know down below, and I'll see you guys next time.